Hi there, my name is Rebecca Willumson. I'm the publisher of Fierce Pharma, and I'm here today with Steve Silvestro, CEO of OptimizeRx. Steve, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Rebecca. Good to be with you.
Given the evolution of pharma marketing in recent years, what do you see as the biggest shift in the pharma marketing landscape or the most disruptive influence?
I think there's a few things that have been really disruptive and evolutionary. Number one is this focus on finding patients that are brand eligible. All around the conference in the last couple of days, there have been people talking about finding brand eligible patients using different means. Obviously, the big data houses are here selling their wares, which is always great to see. But really finding those real time, I think, is the key. And you're hearing that in a lot of the discussions and talks on the first floor here. We're certainly pioneering a lot of that with our own technology. We have an AI-based ML platform that finds brand eligible patients real time and messages physicians and messages patients at the exact same time. So we're getting that duality of surround sound. But those types of technologies have been really, really disruptive. And I think that's a trend. I think pharma has smartened up to the kind of spray and pray not really working anymore. And they're doing a great job of measuring return on investment and impact. And so as they continue to do that, I think they're going to lean away from sort of that just broadcasting type material they were doing before and focus more on data-driven solutions. So
that's cool. Now, OptimizeRx has been talking recently about how pharma brands can facilitate earlier diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah.
Tell me, why is this such an important topic?
Yeah, I mean, look, we know speed to therapy is one of the major variables in good outcomes. And so, for us, it's really about finding patients sooner in the treatment algorithm and getting them on the appropriate therapy faster. We did a project a couple of years ago for a triple negative breast cancer brand. And at the time, there's no ICD-10 code for that, so no diagnosis code for triple negative breast cancer. And it requires 3 different diagnostic tests administered by 3 different doctors. Oh, wow. So the time to therapy there is tricky because you've got to get people to coordinate in the care team. And as you know, that doesn't usually happen. Yeah. And so what we built was, an algorithm that basically looked for those tests, found it, and then put it in front of the prescribing physician sooner. So we were able to get those patients on therapy probably about 8 to 9 months earlier than a normal diagnosis or normal treatment algorithm would happen. And it extended life by 15 months, which was really cool. And that was data that came back from manufacturer to OptimizeRx. So, and we've got, a myriad of examples like that, but just time to therapy is just the essence, particularly with cancer, right? Sure. You've got to get there early intervention.
Tell me, what role can pharma marketers play in earlier intervention?
Yeah, I mean, I think really if pharma marketers can continue to educate themselves around what the patient journey is like and get a little bit more of an encyclopedic knowledge of that and understanding of how patients are flowing through their own process, through their own journey, and then using all the data that's available. I think what I love is that we've got actually a lot of pharma marketers here at the conference this week, and that's wonderful because they're hearing pieces of new novel technology that are really cutting edge. And if they can implement some of those things, not only are they going to drive more revenue for their brands, they're going to do a great job for patients because patients have no idea what's talked about at conferences like these. They rely on people like us to get that information out to them.
So talk to me about challenges or barriers that get in a marketer's way. How do marketers overcome these?
Yeah, I think for marketers, and I was on a panel yesterday, it was just a great group of people, but one of the challenges is sort of the marketing mix. And then you've got competing priorities even within the organization, right? So you have some sacred cows that, manufacturers are not willing to let go of, even though, they're basically in a milk stage. They're just dying assets. But someone on the executive team just feels really strongly about it and they don't want to let it go. And then they've got these other up and coming assets that really need a shot of adrenaline. So for brand marketers and people that are coming to this conference, it's really understanding how to advocate for their brand and using data to be able to demonstrate that their strategy will work. So the more prepared they can be when they go into their investment committee for approval, the better they'll be. And then secondly, I would just say that the marketing mix is changing radically. It used to be that there was a certain percentage that needed to go to the sales force, certain percentage to MSLs, certain percentage to direct to consumer billboards, all that stuff. And all of those percentages are shifting right now. And I think just understanding what really is driving impact, Rebecca, is what they got to focus on. If they can focus on those things, then the data will lead them to the right place.
So I'll close out with kind of a more broad question.
Sure.
Looking towards the future,
yeah.
What's one bold prediction that you would make about the future of pharma marketing?
I think we're going to see that the broad sweeping spray and pray stuff will almost go away. And we're going to see, especially after being here for the week, with all of the data that's available, people are going to be making much more data-driven decisions. And I think they'll have to, right? We're going to be accountable to investors and people these are public companies, and they're going to want to see that we're using our spend in the most effective way. At OptimizeRx, we've got a North Star of Rule of 40, becoming a Rule of 40 business. And we've got some pretty good growth going on right now. And that the market is responding positively to our strategy. And I think other businesses are doing the same thing. So it's just being a better steward over the funds that we have and making sure that we're using them to maximize the shareholder value. And those are good for patients too. Like, doing the right thing for shareholders can also be doing the right thing for patients. And so they're not mutually exclusive.
Well, that's great. That feels like the perfect place to close out. Steve, thank you so much for joining me today.
Really a pleasure to see you again.